The clip that took over the internet starts in the middle of pure chaos. A teenage girl in an expensive blazer, hair perfectly done, leans back in the defendant's chair with a bored smirk. She rolls her eyes and says into the mic, loud enough for the entire courtroom, and for millions of people later watching on their phones. "Girl, can we hurry this up? My dad runs this state. I don't answer to parking judges." Gasps. A few people in the back literally cover their mouths. Judge Caprio doesn't move. He just stares at her over his glasses, the room suddenly painfully quiet. "Judge Caprio, soft, young lady, you might want to think very carefully about what you just said." She scoffs. "Girl, why? You gonna give me a ticket?" The camera catches a veteran in the second row, shaking his head in disbelief, and somewhere in the last bench, a man in a suit slowly lowers his face, like he already knows this moment will follow them for the rest of their lives. This is not just another case. This is the day a senator's little daughter finds out what real justice feels like. Cut back to the beginning of the day. Rain taps against the tall, narrow windows of the Providence Municipal Court. It's early, too early, for the tension you can feel in the air. The fluorescent lights hum softly, casting a pale glow over the wood-paneled walls. The American flag hangs heavy and still, like it's watching. The camera glides past a line of people waiting for their cases. A tired nurse still in scrubs, clutching a ticket. An elderly man holding a worn-out cap in his calloused hands. A delivery driver scrolling through his phone nervously. The sound of footsteps echoes as the door opens. She walks in. Not in handcuffs. Not in shame. She walks in like she owns the floor. High boots. Designer skirt. Diamond studs that catch the light. A phone in her hand, screen bright with messages she's barely skimming. She doesn't look at anyone. She doesn't have to. Bailiff, case number 14. Madison Hart. Alleged reckless driving, destruction of property, leaving the scene, and contempt of court from prior appearance. She flicks her hair, smirks to herself, and strolls toward the defendant's podium like it's a fashion runway, not a place where people come face to face with consequence. In the back row, a man in a simple navy suit slips into the last seat. No entourage, no cameras, no staff. He's just a face for now. The camera doesn't show him fully. Just his hands, knuckles white around a folded piece of paper. Judge Caprio takes his seat, robe falling around him, calm but alert. He looks at the docket, then at the girl. His eyebrow lifts just a little. "Judge Caprio, good morning." "Madison, depends who you ask." The courtroom chuckles nervously. The tone is set. This isn't just another ticket. This is going to be a storm. "Judge Caprio, Miss Madison Hart, you're here for reckless driving, sideswiping another vehicle, leaving the scene, and you have a prior history of failing to appear. Does that sound about right?" She shrugs, eyes still half on her phone. "Madison, I mean, that's what your paper says." "Judge Caprio, that's what the report says, yes." "You don't agree?" She lets out a tiny laugh, the kind you give someone you don't respect. "Madison, look, can we skip to the part where you give me a fine or whatever so I can go? I have a lunch reservation and my driver is waiting." The judge leans back slightly, studying her. "Judge Caprio, your driver." "Madison, yes. The black SUV outside. The one with the security detail you probably noticed. I'm not staying here all day with this crowd." The camera cuts to the nurse, the delivery driver, the elderly man. Their faces twist, offended, hurt, angry. "Judge Caprio, Miss Hart, everyone in this room is equal in my courtroom. I'd be careful how you refer to this crowd." She rolls her eyes dramatically. "Madison, you know who my father is, right?" "Judge Caprio, I'm aware your father is Senator William Hart." Her chin lifts, victory in her eyes. "Madison, exactly. Which means this, she gestures to the bench, the room, the people, doesn't really apply to me the way it does to them. They're regular. I'm not. A murmur rises. Madison, continuing, this whole thing is political anyway. The cops saw my last name and suddenly every little scratch is a crime. It's ridiculous. I didn't flee the scene. I just had somewhere more important to be. Judge Caprio, more important than the person whose car you hit? She shrugs, smirking. Madison, their car was old. I probably increased its value just by touching it. Gasps. A woman in the second row shakes her head, whispering, what is wrong with her? Judge Caprio's face grows more serious. Judge Caprio, Miss Hart, this isn't a reality show. You're in court. Madison, trust me, Judge, everything I do becomes a show sooner or later. She tilts her head toward one of the courtroom cameras. Madison, and I look good on camera. The arrogance is like a wall. Thick, shiny, unbreakable. It's the kind of pride that dares the world to knock it down. Judge Caprio, all right. Before we continue with your attitude, I want to bring in someone related to the case. He looks over to the bailiff. Judge Caprio, please have Mr. Samuels approach. From the second row, the elderly man stands. His hands tremble as he leans on a cane. He wears a neatly pressed but very old suit, a faded pin on his lapel, a small American flag with a tiny golden star beneath it. He walks slowly to the podium next to Madison. The difference between them is blinding. Her, cold, polished, entitled. Him, worn, humble, respectful. Judge Caprio, sir, please state your name for the record. Amartha Samuels, my name is Richard Samuels, Your Honor. Judge Caprio, Mr. Samuels, are you the owner of the vehicle Miss Hart allegedly struck? Amartha Samuels, yes, sir. That old blue sedan outside. Madison snorts quietly. Madison, whispering but caught on mic, I knew it was that junk thing. Mr. Samuels glances at her, eyes full of a sorrowful kind of disappointment, like he's seen too much in life to be surprised by disrespect, but it still hurts. Judge Caprio, Mr. Samuels, can you tell us what happened that day, in your own words? He clears his throat. Amartha Samuels, yes, Your Honor. I was parked outside the VA clinic. I was coming out from my appointment. I got a bad knee since Afghanistan. The car, it's old, yes, but it's the only thing I've got. Saved up years for that car. The courtroom quiets. Amartha Samuels, continuing, when I came outside, I saw my car smashed on the side. I saw this young lady getting into a big SUV. I tried to wave, I called out, but she looked straight at me. Then the car just drove away. Madison rolls her eyes again. Madison, I didn't see him, Your Honor. There were like 100 people. Amartha Samuels, softly, but firm, there were 3 people, ma'am. And I was right in front of you. The camera zooms in on his hand gripping the cane, knuckles trembling. Mr. Samuels, I'm on a fixed income. I spent my last savings fixing the engine last year. When the officer told me it was a hit and run, and then told me who owned the SUV, he said, you might not want to count on much, sir. Those people got lawyers. He looks down, breath catching. Amartha Samuels, I served this country. I never asked for special treatment. I just wanted my car to get me to my doctor and back. That's all. The nurse in the back wipes a tear. Even some officers standing against the wall look moved. Madison's jaw tightens for just a second, then she masks it with a scoff. Madison, this is so dramatic. I tapped his car. It's not like I ran him over. The room freezes. The veteran closes his eyes like he's physically hurt by her words. Judge Caprio's hands fold on the bench. His voice drops half an octave. Judge Caprio, Miss Hart, you might want to choose your words more carefully. The judge removes his glasses and sets them down slowly, a signal everyone in the room seems to recognize. Judge Caprio, Miss Hart, how old are you? Madison, 17. Judge Caprio, 17. You've lived 17 years on this earth and you've already learned how to look at another human being and reduce them to a junk car. She crosses her arms. Madison, you're twisting my words. Judge Caprio, no. I'm repeating them. There's a difference. He turns slightly toward the audience. Judge Caprio, let me tell you something, young lady. I've been sitting on this bench a long time. I've seen people who had nothing but the clothes on their back, who still managed to carry more dignity than a room full of people with titles and money. He shifts his gaze back to her, eyes firm but not cruel. Judge Caprio, you think that because your father is a senator, the rules bend around you. You think this is an inconvenience. A little show where you're the star. She opens her mouth to interrupt. Judge Caprio, cutting in, calm but sharp, no. Right now, you're a young woman who left the scene of an accident. Who watched a man old enough to be your grandfather calling out to you, and decided he wasn't worth your time. Silence. Judge Caprio, that's not elite. That's not special. That's just cruel. Madison stares at him, jaw clenched, but there's a flicker, just a flicker, of something uncomfortable in her eyes. Judge Caprio, your looks, your clothes, your last name, none of it matters in front of this bench. My job is not to be impressed by you. It's to see the truth. And the truth is, you're not on trial for your father's position. He leans forward. Judge Caprio, you're on trial for your character. The words hang there, heavy, like they physically weigh down the air. Judge Caprio glances briefly at the last row. The camera finally reveals the man in the navy suit. Viewers recognize him instantly from TV. Strong jaw, controlled expression, silver streaks in his hair. Senator William Hart. He's been sitting there the entire time, watching his daughter, unseen by her, unseen by most of the room. Judge Caprio, before I proceed with sentencing, I want to make something clear. This case has drawn some attention. And I've received a letter I think we need to address. He picks up the folded paper. The senator closes his eyes briefly. Judge Caprio, this letter is from your father, Miss Hart. Madison's head snaps up. Madison, my father? He wrote the court. Judge Caprio, yes. And, he also asked to be present. He looks beyond her. Judge Caprio, Senator Hart, would you please stand? The entire courtroom turns as the senator rises. The murmurs are instant, that's him, the senator, he was here the whole time. Madison's face drains of color. Madison, Dad. He steps forward slowly, but he doesn't go to her. He stands between her and the bench, facing the judge. Senator Hart, Your Honor. Judge Caprio, Senator. You asked to make a statement. I'll allow it, as the parent of a minor. But I want you to understand, this court is independent. No pressure from your office will change the outcome here. The senator nods, voice low. Senator Hart, understood, Your Honor. I didn't come to interfere. I came because I failed. The room shifts. Nobody expected that. Madison blinks, confusion and fear mixing together. Madison, what are you talking about? You're the one who said you'd take care of it. Her words cut through the quiet. The senator closes his eyes, wounded. Senator Hart, Madison. Taking care of it doesn't mean erasing your mistakes. It means making sure you become someone who can live with herself. He turns slightly, not to the judge, not to his daughter, but to Mr. Samuels. Senator Hart, Mr. Samuels. I watched the footage. The security camera from across the street captured everything. The court clerk brings up a monitor. The judge nods, and a silent video begins to play. We see Madison's black SUV. We see the blue sedan parked properly. We see the SUV scrape along the side, hard, loud, no question. Then we see something else. We see Mr. Samuels hobbling out of the clinic, waving, calling out. We see Madison look directly at him through the tinted glass. We see her hesitate, just for a second. Then we see her raise her phone, laugh at something, and motion the driver to go. The video freezes on her face in the window, laughing, indifferent. A collective exhale fills the room. Judge Caprio, quietly, Miss Hart, you said you didn't see him. She doesn't answer. Senator Hart, Your Honor, my letter to you, it wasn't to ask for mercy. It was to ask that you don't give her any because of me. I've spent years fighting for laws, for fairness, for the people. His voice cracks on the words. Senator Hart, and I couldn't even teach my own daughter that a man like Mr. Samuels is worth stopping for. He turns fully to Madison now, eyes wet, but firm. Senator Hart, Maddie, this is my fault. When reporters called, when my staff said, we can make this disappear, I almost let them. I almost let you believe you were untouchable. But then I watched that footage. He points toward the screen. Senator Hart, and I didn't see my little girl anymore. I saw someone I didn't recognize. Madison swallows hard. Senator Hart, so I wrote to Judge Caprio and I asked him, please, treat her like anyone else. Or even stricter. Because if she doesn't learn now, the world will teach her later, and it will be much crueler than this courtroom. The twist is complete. The man everyone assumed would swoop in and rescue her, came to make sure she faces the consequences. Madison's posture starts to crumble. The confident lean, the crossed arms, the smirk, piece by piece, they fall away. Madison, voice shaking, Dad, you set me up. Senator Hart, no, Madison. Life set you up. You chose how you acted. Tears well up in her eyes, mascara beginning to smudge. Madison, you always fix things. You always make the calls, sign the papers, send the lawyers. You said I'd be fine. Senator Hart, I said I'd be there. I didn't say I'd erase what you did. She looks around the room, at the cameras, at the strangers, at Mr. Samuels, at her father, at the judge. Suddenly, the courtroom no longer feels like a stage. It feels like a mirror, and she hates what she sees. Madison, voice breaking, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Judge Caprio speaks gently now. Judge Caprio, you didn't think a man on a fixed income, leaving a VA clinic, watching his only car get smashed and the person driving away, was a big deal. The tears spill over. Madison, I didn't want drama. I thought if I stayed and made a scene, people would record it and blow it out of proportion and my dad would get dragged into it and. Her words tumble out in a rush, panic replacing arrogance. Madison, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I just wanted it to go away. Everything goes away when you ignore it long enough. That's how it's always been. The PR teams, the statements, the donations, it all just goes away. She looks at Mr. Samuels, eyes red. Madison, I didn't think about you. I just thought about me. Silence. Heavy. Exposed. Madison, whispering, I was wrong. The words are small, but real. Madison, I'm sorry, Mr. Samuels. I really am. I sound like a monster on that video. I don't want to be that person. Mr. Samuels studies her for a long moment. The judge lets the silence stretch, letting the weight of her own reflection sit with her. For the first time since she walked in, she looks like a teenager. Not a senator's daughter. Not a headline. Just a scared, ashamed kid who finally hit a wall she can't charm her way through. Judge Caprio clears his throat. The entire room straightens. This is the moment. Judge Caprio, Miss Hart, I want you to listen very carefully. Your father asked me not to spare you because of his position. I respect that. I also respect that you finally, sincerely, apologized. He folds his hands. Judge Caprio, justice is not about humiliation. It's about transformation. So here's what we're going to do. He holds up one finger. Judge Caprio, 1. Legal consequence. First, the legal side. You are guilty of reckless driving and leaving the scene of an accident. I am imposing the maximum fines allowed for those offenses in this court. You will also lose your driving privileges for 6 months. No negotiating. No exceptions. During this period, you will not be permitted to operate any motor vehicle, including those driven by security for your personal errands. If you want to go somewhere, you'll have to find another way. Madison nods slowly, tears still flowing. He raises a second finger. Judge Caprio, 2. Moral/emotional consequence. Second. You will pay for all damages to Mr. Samuel's car out of your own funds. Not your father's money. Not a campaign account. Your money. If you don't have enough, you will work for it. You will also write a personal letter to Mr. Samuels, not just saying, "I'm sorry," but explaining what you've learned. That letter will not go to the press. It will go to him, and only him. Mr. Samuels blinks, deeply moved. The judge raises a third finger. Judge Caprio, 3. Social/community consequence. Third. And this is the part one want you to remember for the rest of your life. You will spend every Saturday for the next 3 months volunteering at the VA center Mr. Samuels attends. You will check people in, bring them coffee, listen to their stories, roll their wheelchairs, whatever they need. You will look into the eyes of men and women who gave up everything so people like you could grow up in peace. Madison's eyes widen. Judge Caprio, during this time, you will not post about it on social media. You will not turn it into a branding opportunity or a redemption tour. If I see a single photo op, a single staged, charity picture, I will consider that a violation of the spirit of this sentence and we will revisit your case. Understood? She nods quickly, desperate. Madison, quiet, I understand, Your Honor. Judge Caprio, and one more thing. When your 6-month driving suspension is over, if you wish to reapply for your license, you will return to this courtroom and stand there. He points to the defendant's podium. Judge Caprio, and tell me, on record, what you learned from Mr. Samuels and from those veterans. If I am not convinced, you won't be driving for another 6 months. The whole courtroom is silent, almost in awe. The punishment is firm, layered, and for once, equal. Judge Caprio, softening, this is not just a sentence, Miss Hart. This is an opportunity. Don't waste it. Cut to 6 months later. The camera pans across the same VA clinic parking lot. The blue sedan is there, but now, its side is perfectly repaired, paint shining in the afternoon sun. Next to it is a bus stop bench. Madison sits there. No designer clothes. Just jeans, a simple hoodie, hair tied back. No cameras. No entourage. A worn-out volunteer lanyard hangs around her neck. She gently helps Mr. Samuels into the passenger seat of his car. Madison, careful with your knee, Mr. Samuels. Amarthus Samuels, chuckling, you say that every week, and every week I forget and try to move too fast. She smiles, a real one this time. Madison, good thing I'm here to remind you, then. Over these 6 months, something changed. We see quick flashes. Madison pushing a wheelchair down a hallway, listening intently to an old veteran telling a story about his youth. Madison pouring coffee, laughing gently as a group of vets tease her about not knowing how to use the old machine. Madison sitting in a corner of the break room, quietly crying as she reads a rehabilitation report, then wiping her eyes and going back out to help. Voiceover in Judge Caprio's calm tone. Judge Caprio, VO, sometimes, the people who seem the most lost aren't bad, they're just untested. They've never been pressed hard enough to see what's really in them. Back in the clinic parking lot, Mr. Samuels looks at Madison. Amarthus Samuels, you know, when I first saw you in that courtroom, I thought, this girl's gonna float through life, never touching the ground. She winces slightly. Madison, I deserve that. Amarthus Samuels, maybe. But after 6 months watching you show up, listening, lifting, learning. I don't see that girl anymore. He pats her hand. Amarthus Samuels, I see someone who understands that other people exist. That their pain matters. And that she's not the main character in every story. She smiles, eyes misty. Madison, you changed me more than you know. I came here because I was forced to. I'm staying because I don't want to go back to who I was. He nods, proud. Amarthus Samuels, then the sentence worked. Cut to the courtroom again. Madison stands at the same podium, but everything is different. She holds herself humbly. No phone. No eye rolls. Judge Caprio, Miss Hart, you've completed your community service and your fines are paid. Mr. Samuels has submitted a letter, a very kind one, I might add. He taps a paper. Judge Caprio, do you have anything you'd like to say before I consider reinstating your license? Madison takes a breath. Madison, yes, Your Honor. 6 months ago, I thought this room was beneath me. I thought people like Mr. Samuels were background characters in my life. I cared more about how I looked on camera than what I looked like as a human being. She glances back at Mr. Samuels, who nods encouragingly. Madison, I was wrong. Working at the VA, hearing their stories, their pain, their sacrifices. I realized how small I was acting. How selfish. These people gave up time, health, even family so people like me could live safely. And I drove away from one of them because I didn't want to be inconvenienced. She swallows. Madison, I can't undo what I did. But I can choose who I am going forward. I don't want special treatment anymore. I want to earn whatever respect I get. And I want to keep serving at that clinic, even now that my sentence is over. A soft murmur of approval fills the room. Judge Caprio studies her for a long moment. Then he smiles, that warm, grandfatherly smile the world knows so well. Judge Caprio, Miss Hart. I think you've learned more in 6 months than some people learn in a lifetime. You've shown remorse, growth, and a desire to give back. That's all a judge can hope for. He nods once. Judge Caprio, your driving privileges are reinstated. But remember, a license is not just permission to drive. It's permission to be trusted on the road with other people's lives and livelihoods. Don't ever forget the lesson Mr. Samuels taught you. She nods firmly. Madison, I won't, Your Honor. I promise. Cut to a slow zoom on the empty courtroom after everyone has left. Just the flag, the bench, the rows of seats where hundreds of stories have unfolded. Judge Caprio's voice returns, this time speaking not just to Madison, but to you. Judge Caprio, VO, we live in a world where some people grow up thinking titles, money, and last names are shields. That they can move through life without ever really seeing the people around them. But the truth is, sooner or later, life brings us all to a moment of reckoning. We see a quick montage. Madison laughing cruelly in the SUV, freeze frame. The same Madison pushing a wheelchair, listening intently. Mr. Samuels standing, holding his repaired keys, smiling at her. Judge Caprio, VO, in that moment, it doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter how many followers you have or how much money is in your account. What matters is your character. How you treat the people who can't do anything for you. How you react when you're caught doing wrong. The camera cuts to a shot of the judge's empty chair. Judge Caprio, VO, respect isn't a gift you get because of your name. It's something you earn every day by the way you move through the world. We see Madison once more, sitting on the steps outside the courthouse, tying Mr. Samuel's shoe because he can't reach easily. No cameras. No applause. Just a quiet act of kindness. Judge Caprio, VO, if you ever find yourself tempted to think you're above someone, remember this: one careless moment can reveal who you really are. But one humble decision, one sincere apology, one act of service, can begin to rewrite your story. The music swells softly. Judge Caprio, VO, justice isn't just about punishment. It's about giving people a chance to change. The question is, what will you do with that chance when it comes? The screen fades to black, leaving the title card lingering in your mind. Senator's little daughter disrespects Judge Caprio, instantly gets what she deserves. But by the end, you realize. What she deserves wasn't just punishment. It was a wake-up call. A lesson in humility. And a reminder for all of us. No one is above respect. And no one is beyond redemption.